I'm Mr. Johnny and I'm going to be upgrading Marvel Axies and Lease event to iPhones and media. Axies is a comic book event where the superheroes and supervillains of the Marvel Universe got affected by a spell that made them the opposite of who they are. Put this in the MCU, you could just make it that it's just the superheroes who turn evil because of it. While the supervillains could still be affected by the spell, but them only turn good in the end to change back the superheroes. To show it being even bigger challenge to the superheroes, and so you don't ruin the concept of it, and to show how big of a threat it is. It would be really good if you combined it with the Marvel Monsters Unleashed storyline, because Marvel is known for the giant monster characters from their version of the Golden Age, so this would be a good way of acknowledging that in the MCU and a good way to use them. I already said how they can do giant monsters in the MCU in my previous videos, and I'll link those in the description down below. While Marvel Monsters Unleashed is just how you can do it in the MCU specifically. It would actually be good if this happened at the same time as Marvel Axies Unleashed, since they both came around at the same time, and it would also explain where the other superheroes were and why is it they didn't stop this one. Marvel monsters were just going to war with each other, but then went to war with a new race of giant monsters in the Marvel Universe. I already have a video coming up for how they can introduce guys like Red Skull back into the MCU for the storyline to work there, so stay tuned for that. These storylines are underrated. I actually think they're pretty damn good because of the concepts they have, so you should do them in the MCU. It starts out with Red Skull stirring apart to Professor X's brain for his psychic gifts, and use it to become Red Onslaught and to start World War Hate, and him also getting the other Marvel supervillains involved with it, and the superheroes need to go against it. Onslaught is the bad part of Professor X's mind. After a part of Magneto's hatred and fear touched it. Him having the same psychic powers as Professor X and him only being an alternate personality to Professor X, which Red Skull got when he got at Professor X's psychic powers from the part of Professor X's brain that he stole from him. So because of him having the same psychic powers that created Onslaught, him using it to become Red Onslaught because of him already being evil.
Red Skull. He's long dead.
New toys, same old Hydra. Sorry you came all the way back from the dead to chalk up another loss, Skull. Perhaps. Perhaps not.
Cap!
So the Iron Man has a heart after all.
Drop the shield, you animal!
I think not! You are just a fool in a machine, Stark!
Cap, you're alive! I don't know what Skull's doing to you, but let's get you out of here.
Iron Man.
You weren't fried. You were teleported. I can't believe I missed that.
So you left the rest of your team behind? For me?
But how did you know they were here?
Fool! This body is mine! I was dying. My body ravaged by the very serum that had given me such strength all these years. But why perish when there was an alternative? MODOK was the key. His power transferred my being into a body where the super soldier serum actually worked. He left my hated enemy to rot in my own walking corpse.
This is gonna hurt me more than it hurts you.
Cap, I hope that's you.
You've avenged me, Tony. Now, lead them. I know you're the smart one, but that was pretty dumb. I think you're right. You've scratched up my body enough.
You regret this, Stark?
I hate seeing me squirm. Finish it, would you, kid? Much better. Thank you. All of you.
No one messes with one of our own and gets away with it.
Avengers forever.
Don't dislocate your shoulder patting yourself on the back, fearless leader.
Leader. All these years, all these battles, and I have been going about it wrong. Thank you, Stark.
Remember how far I went to pull your butt out of the fire. Your turn.
Hospital won't cut it. Tony's armor was the only thing keeping him alive. Specifically, the arc reactor. Without it...
Get me to the mansion.
You sure? Try not to die on my first day as an Avenger, Tony. Come on, Tony! Come on!
That was something I would never want to do again. Thanks for not electrocuting me on your first day as an Avenger, Sam.
He's not good with thank yous. Great work, Falcon.
Could you say that again into my phone? I want to make it my ringtone.
Rookies. Thank you. See, I can be nice when I almost die.
Stark's armor is an even greater prize than the captain's body.
Don't do anything stupid, okay?
You're fired.
For real? Go!
It is said that together the Avengers can face threats no single hero can. Then... it is only fitting that we, their greatest foes, work together in order to destroy them.
This is bigger than we could have ever imagined.
What you have?
More importantly, what are you paying them?
What's the date and location of our next target?
What kind of power source does this sub use?
These are sophisticated questions for mere foot soldiers.
Foot soldiers?
We took down Iron Man, which when we last checked, you failed to do.
You're too late to stop me, Stark. Not even your armor can save you from this!
Done.
You fools! Do you realize what you've done?
Yeah. Stopped you from ruling the world.
You've unleashed the power of Neptune! You have angered the ocean itself! You've never shown such skill. Explain.
I had a soul.
I know standard procedures to confiscate his armor, but Skull may have it booby-trapped.
Yeah, I'll get it off him.
Didn't I just say not to do that? I did, right?
Oh, but I have computer.
But sir...
This will lead us to the ultimate evildoer, my personal hero, the Red Skull!
Try my greatest plan! Operation U.S.B.
Red Skull and the Skullbots!
The fate of mankind hung in the balance. We had to stop that black-forest hand, the Red Skull, and his cohort of evil.
I needed men with diverse talents on that top-secret mission. A mission to stop the Red Skull and his nefarious Plan USB.
I was leading the Howling Commandos. Dum Dum Dugan, Gabe Jones, Izzy Cohen. Fine, fine men. We were able to defeat the Skull's army of Skullbots. never did learn what Plan USB was.
No, the Skull accidentally shot himself with his freeze ray first. He never could work that thing.
Ha! Good old USB! Plan USB! Finally, Plan USB!
What's Plan USB?
How shall I know? But he's the Red Skull, so it must be great, right? Plan USB!
Der Oberskullman! Mr. Skull, how will you get it out of the ground?
The mole man will dig it up and then I will use it to destroy those Howling Commandos!
USB! USB! USB!
Of course! Plan USB! Uber, Skull, Box!
We should be attacking them!
Pointless. We've got to try something else. Sing, Hulk! Sing!
Hope not understand.
Just do it! It's our last chance!
That infernal noise is destroying our robots!
Now's our chance, Cap.
Ooh, Hulk smash?
I'll take care of the fractal.
It would appear you have me surrounded, but then I'm the one with the freeze ray. Yeah? Finally, my revenge!
Can you believe it? The Red Skull froze himself again.
Me talking about Valkyrie, give me some Valkyrie, gosh, what a gal!
Hey, renting a karaoke machine for your birthday was a great idea, Cap.
Defeating the Red Skull's Plan USB is the best birthday gift a star-spangled hero could ever have.
Thanks to our new Howling Commandos, we've triumphed again. Where exactly did you put Red Skull?
He took a career in the food service industry.
I want the Valkyrie, talking about Valkyrie, give me some Valkyrie!
Stopped looking for the relics of this world. Today, I take the power of another one. Boss called it Bifrost, the battlefield. The Allies won't even comprehend the forces that are destroying them.
What have you done?
What have I done? I have won this war, Captain. Open the portal! No, you have destroyed everything! I will have my revenge on you and...
It's over, Skull.
Finally, we agree. Goodbye, Captain America.
No! There's not enough time! Bucky! Jump for it!
Sorry, Cap!
Stow that talk! We'll make it!
No! I mean, sorry! But the world needs Captain America more than Bucky!
No! No! Bucky!
He's not the only one. We don't know how many of us were exposed. Jarvis, analysis on this virus? Anything in your databanks?
Nothing, sir.
Easy, pal. Try not to move.
Not this. Not him.
Oh. I don't feel so hot.
Panther, look.
It may be just a matter of time for all of us.
Red Skull. And so, we have come full circle.
No! Look at me, Skull. You and I still have a score to settle.
Just spoke to the SHIELD psych team. Falcon and Samson are going to be treated for whatever mind control the Skull had them under.
Good. They're not the bad guys.
The important thing is that all of Rusk's public campaigns against us end up looking like the rantings of a madman. That's good PR for us. And we owe it all to this man.
Yes, me.
No, never again.
This is for the damage the sleepers did. And this is for fucking... Bucky, you know I can't just let you walk out of here.
When were you ever able to stop me from doing something I wanted to do?
I hope you find what you're looking for, soldier.
10-4, Cap. Bucky out.
Boundaries of time, the Red Skull.
But here I am, fighting alongside one of the greatest heroes of all time.
Yeah, Cap is quite a...
I wasn't talking about Cap. You, Spider. You're quite a leader. I wouldn't want to have missed sharing this action with you for all the world. Thanks.
So the spell they use to change him back would be what causes the Marvel Axies event. Tony Stark would become the Superior Iron Man, and it would be good if he didn't just get a symbiote armored suit, but also was combined with his all-purpose armor, which did everything all his other armors did before. That way it would be more to it than just it being similar to Spider-Man's symbiote suit, and it would have something that made it original from the other suits. Daredevil was one of the guys who went against them during this time because of him being a supervillain. He did also fight against Pepper and had something to do with Teen Abomination during this time. It is good seeing actual supervillain version of Tony Stark, and us seeing what would happen if Tony Stark really did turn evil. Plus, he was also one of the guys who stayed affected by the Axies spell after they did a spell that changed everyone back. So it would be good to see him in it a while in the MCU after they changed everyone else back, but them just managing to do another spell to change him back afterwards. It's because that was one of the problems with the original Superior Iron Man one. And he stayed a supervillain, but they never explained how he became a superhero again, so this way you would just be explaining how he became a superhero again. He's dead in the MCU, and he should stay dead in the MCU. He definitely shouldn't come back in the MCU, because it was already one of the biggest deaths in the MCU. It's good it happened at the end of Endgame. Because of the actor's 10-year contract is up, and he was already in the MCU for 10 years, they definitely shouldn't bring him back in the MCU. They just need to get another main character of the MCU, so they can do a focused story again. They don't need to reboot the MCU, they just need to retcon out the terrible parts of the continuity and to make it not so confusing. which they actually can do because the MCU during this time is dealing with time travel in the multiverse. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was already supposed to have the superior Iron Man played by one of the alternate guys who had played Tony Stark like in the MCU. In one of the alternate dimensions he was going to in that movie. So they really should put a superior Iron Man here to make up for that. And to have him played by the guy who would have played Tony Stark before Robert Downey Jr. The actor who did play Tony Stark in the MCU. You would also need to keep in him being from another dimension in this storyline, and you could actually acknowledge the fact that Tony Stark is dead and in the present day continuity of the MCU, because of him being a supervillain playing on that. It kind of being hard for them to deal with Tony Stark being dead and while fighting against a supervillain version of him. And it would also be a good way to help them get over Tony Stark's death. And you definitely shouldn't do it with Spider-Man because we just got out of that with him. But you should do it with leftover Iron Man characters. Is for why we don't see them anymore in the MCU after them dealing with this. And before some of them dying in the MCU, so that's why we don't see those guys too in the MCU after this. It taking place after the Armor Wars. That's where they fight against a bunch of other Iron Man supervillains from Iron Man's Source Gallery. Stark started as superhero in the MCU, this would be a good way to flesh that out here. Also just ending all the leftover Iron Man stuff with the Iron Man characters there. And it would also be a good way to see how they feel about Tony Stark's death. If you do this, you would show why he really did call himself the superior Iron Man during that time. And it would be good for the MCU to do this because as they would be showing that they're not needing to do things with Iron Man specifically in the MCU. And they would also be showing as an alternate take on Iron Man. And it wouldn't just be a shameless cameo that the MCU keeps doing because of it actually serving a story purpose. Then also, Avengers Endgame was a good movie, it's just terrible now because it started all the terrible things that we saw later in the MCU. I'm sure when the MCU gets good again, and Avengers Endgame will become good again too. But it's definitely not as good as it used to be, and I am much more glad that DC managed to do better versions of the Endgame event than Endgame in their stuff. Superior Iron Man and Claw were the best and most iconic guys to come out of the Axies event. So it would be good those guys showing up a lot and them having a connection in this storyline. Claw was originally a terrible version of the Hulk, but now him being much better in this storyline. Claw is Hulk spelled backwards, and it's Claw not Clue. Claw is the Hulk's Hulk, he's born out of Hulk's anger instead of Bruce Banner's anger. Him coming out when Hulk feels sad instead of angry. Him being made out of all the sadness and misery of the Hulk that he keeps suppressing over the years. Because of him being the Hulk's Hulk, he is stronger than the Hulk. The Hulk is still stronger than him because of him getting stronger the angrier he gets. It would also be a good storyline and a good thing for you to do with the MCU Hulk. And you doing something good with him and you getting something out of him before you being done with him in the MCU. It is good him looking more original from the usual Hulk, and it is a good idea him being the Hulk's Hulk. So you can just make it that for the MCU Hulk, this is just where he gets that personality from, and I already have another video saying about what you should do with the MCU Hulk, so I'll link that in the description down below. And I have a video coming up about the Hulk's part of the MCU, so stay tuned for that. It's a good alternate personality of the Hulk, so he really should show up more when they do the alternate personalities of the Hulk. He is different from the main Hulk because of him coming out when Hulk gets sad. And it is good him making a mohawk look good. Was also a good storyline for Nova, and Claw did fight against Nova, which is how Nova ended up in the Avengers, so this would be good for after the MCU introduces Nova. He is one of the most iconic guys from the event, and he is kind of the most iconic thing to come out of this event, so it would be good to us seeing him more often, and he did also fight against an old Captain America during this time. And it would be good us finding out his relationships with the other Hulk personalities. This was also around the time the Red Hulk killed the Silver Surfer and stole his surfboard and an axe. And that the Hulk became the Cosmic Hulk when he got the power of the Captain Universe Force. It became the Blue Hulk and the Giant Smith. So that would also be good as another Hulk personality, and him being able to keep that one, and for when you introduce Captain Universe into the MCU. And it would be good if you got that out of the Hulk in the MCU version of him. And it would be good if you connect the Red Hulk thing to it, to explain why Red Hulk did that, to try to go against the Blue Hulk like that. And after an extremely powerful supervillain breaks the Silver Surfer's surfboard, and him just coming back to life and taking back his surfboard. And Captain Universe would be a good thing for you to do in the MCU because of him having a lot of something to do with Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse event. And if you ever do Thanos' obsession with death in the MCU when you get rid of the antennas, also it being a good way for them not talking about Thanos anymore after the antennas ruined it. And if you do Deadpool also being in love with Mistress Death, the physical embodiment of death in the Marvel Universe. Deadpool is in the MCU after Deadpool 3, and you just doing that this is before he fell in love with the woman he fell in love with in the original Deadpool movie, and you just say it in a throwaway line. Because the MCU ruined Scarlet Witch, you need to bring her back to unruin her. And they are doing the X-Men in the MCU, so it would be good you doing the X-Men part of her. It's not like there isn't a bunch of people online who already know that she isn't dead. And it was a terrible part of the storyline when they found out Magneto wasn't her father in it. And they only did that because of the MCU, so it would be a good way for the MCU to make up for it by showing in this movie that Magneto is their father so it can end up in the comic books again. And to redo her and her brother Quicksilver's connection to the X-Men and mutants. There's also a good storyline for Dr. Voodoo and her romance with Dr. Voodoo, so it would be good you doing that before her getting her happy ending with Vision by you using the right Vision in the MCU, and after you introduce Dr. Voodoo into the MCU. It's also a good story for Evan and the X-Men because the X-Men are made to hate humans like Magneto. And because Evan becomes Apocalypse, but it's still showing him still being that good kid inside and him going back to it afterwards. So this would be good after X-Force does the same storyline in the MCU and after they do the Apocalypse storyline. You also get to see Mystique just be playing good and her interacting with her kids who are evil now. Because of her caring so much about Professor X, not because of them used to being friends before. And we do already know that Red Skull is still alive in the MCU, so you would just need to introduce him back into the MCU earlier because now that Captain America is gone. And do him becoming the White Skull in the MCU, and it would also be good seeing the White Skull all interact with the Captain America at the time, and it is also good you making it in the storyline. And you just mentioning what happened to Cap, him just retiring and then not interrupting his retirement because of Captain America being a good person. Captain America not really being any use to them in the modern day because of him being old. You do the same reasons for what happened to all the other superheroes and all the other superheroes turning evil there too. And it would also be good you introducing the Enchantress into the MCU before them being done with Thor. Because she's a good villain to Thor. And she does usually work together with Loki in the MCU, which Loki is still a big part of the MCU. And she was one of the supervillains that turned good with the other supervillains during the storyline, and it would be good you introducing the other villains before so you doing a good version of them here too. Tom gone before you choosing him back and you dealing with him in the last Spider-Man movie when him fighting against him with the Green Goblin and some of his other villains. And Loki became the god of truth at the time and had a romance with Enchantress at the time, so it would be good you doing that part of the story here with the MCU version of Loki because of him still having a big part in the MCU. It's also a good storyline for the Uncanny Avengers and for Deadpool for what the Uncanny Avengers means to him. It also shows his time with X-Force as because of him becoming Zenpool and him making it out of his X-Force costume. Him still being a good guy because since Deadpool isn't your usual good guy, it just making him a plain good guy, which would be good for when you do Deadpool in the MCU. And it's also good for his relationship with Evan, Kate Apocalypse, also known as Genesis. And also this is a good storyline for Captain America, Sam Wilson, and because of him turning evil at the time, which would be good for the Captain America symbols in the MCU because it's showing what kind of Captain America he is. The Avengers would go against the X-Men, and because of them disagreeing on what to do with the Red Skull that stole part of their Professor X's brain and to use his psychic powers. But because of him being too big of a threat, that is why the Avengers taking care of it. The X-Men would do a gene bomb that would get rid of all the humans in the world. And the Avengers and the other superheroes who are still their usual good selves would need to stop them from doing it. And it wouldn't just be because, as of the spell happening there, it would be for why they're doing this, but them thinking it just being revenge for all the terrible things those guys have done to them over the years, whether it's the villains or people not trusting them in general. Well, the villains who are turning good would just have an even better reason for doing good because of the superheroes always being so good to them and them being good to them over the years. And this would also be after they fully introduced and established Dr. Doom in the MCU, so it being good you doing his part of the story. It also being after the House of M storyline, so you're also doing Havoc's part of the storyline. It's also good for Apocalypse because as of it showing how much he cares about mutants even though him being Apocalypse. It also shows how good Evan is because of him being a good guy even when in him being Apocalypse. This should be a good way for Thor and Loki to meet again and to redeem Thor and to get rid of Lady Thor. Or just use another Asgardian character if you can't use Thor. Then they would do a counter spell to change everyone back to the original side they were on and their original personality, but some of them would stay on the other side that they originally were because of it not getting all of them because of the Superior Iron Man shielding some of them. Actually, I like the ending of where they made it obvious that it was the villains who did this. They don't need to make it the supervillains took the blame for it by them doing it themselves, but they could make it that they did tell the people the truth, that they're the reason why the superheroes did those things. I mean, we do know that the superheroes didn't do those things out of their own free will, and that it really was just because of the spell why they did those things. And to be true, I do hate it when the people go against the superheroes because the superheroes should be grateful to have them in your life, so it's bad that people being ungrateful for them in forms of media. And we definitely don't need the people going against them here because you already saw it a bunch of times before. And it was only bad that people going against the superheroes was the first time because, as we know, it not being the superheroes' fault, so it being bad at us reading about it. About the people going against the superheroes when they know these things have happened so many times before, and when the superheroes keep proving that they're the good guys in general anyways. And so this is actually a more original way of doing it that we really should see more often. That's also why it should be in the MCU, so it end up in other superhero movies and other forms of media in general. In the X-Men movies, we show how Havoc gets changed back to his usual personality, and this does show the bond that he has with Brother Cyclops because of them and still being hanging out together and looking out for each other after this whole thing happens, and him still being affected by the inversion spell. Sabretooth would also not get changed back at first, and so us seeing him do some good during this time and him actually joining the X-Men at this time, and for him to make up for the terrible things he did and before. This could be after Wolverine dies in the MCU or after he comes back to life in the MCU, but you could also make it being when Wolverine is still alive in the MCU or he doesn't die in the MCU. So it's showing that Wolverine was right to offer Sabretooth a spawn the X-Men to show there is still good in him years ago before the rivalry getting as bad as it is now. So Sabretooth could show his dead friend that he too could have the spirit of a Wolverine. And also you could also use this for when you turn him evil again, and because of them fixing the inversion spell, you showing not just that there's no good in Sabretooth, but if he's going to be good, it needs to be out of his own free will and not just because of a spell doing it to him, so it not being based on a lie. You would still help the Axemen go up against their villains, but you would also be primarily going against the Axemen. And for you acknowledging his time as a good guy, but you also making it clear him staying a supervillain. And this did lead to the end of the Uncanny Avengers for a while during the inversion spell. So when you do them coming back together, you also saw why the Uncanny Avengers is so important, and also making it that the other superheroes stand up for the mutants too, and make sure they're putting in a good word for the mutants to stop the mutant hate, and to show those superheroes supporting the mutants too to help their cause. You're just doing them going back to fight the giant monsters in the end, and that being how they're coming back together in the end because of it. And it just happening in the background of the movie, while all the new superheroes are also dealing with it too, because the main superheroes are busy with the Axies event. Then, after they get fixed by the inversion spell, them helping the new superheroes defeat the giant monsters.
Every day that overgrown lizard knocks me out of bed, drags me through the desert, and buries me like a blasted bone!
Oh, that's just his way of saying he likes you.
Well, I'm sick of him. Little curious to see what dino burgers would taste like? You know what I'm talking about, right, Scar?
Dino burger.
Dino burgers. Nom 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 nom.
No! Devil Boy Scar's friend. No nom nom nom.
Yeah. How would you feel if we tossed you on a bun each time you honked us off?
Okay, no dino burgers.
We don't know how it happened, but somehow Devil developed a wicked attachment to Red. Maybe because they both have that roaring red thing going for them. Or it could be Devil sees Red as a fellow dinosaur, or maybe a pet. That's probably it.
Oh no! Not again!
No sign of Mama. She's gotta be around here somewhere. Huh. You four almost remind me of... Hey, little guys. We get up top here, and we can send a stronger signal for my homing beacon. Hey, knock it off back there. With any... Wolvie! Fastball special! Do it!
What happened?
What's going on? Monsters!
Is that the Hulk? They're not monsters. They're agents of SMAC.
Time to tame the dragon. Yeah, but first...
Is it just me, or is this thing kind of indestructible?
So are we.
So nice of you to join us. Look, we need you to... Zip it, Quill. This time I'm the one making demands. Groot, you're with me. The rest of you distract Lizard Boy.
Then for the Marvel monsters in these parts of the story, you keeping it the same with Kid Kaiju interacting with Moon Girl, and the giant monsters of the Marvel Universe defeating other giant monsters. But it would start out with the giant monsters of the Marvel Universe going to war with each other, but then them working together to stop a different kind of giant monsters. You also using this for you being done with Lady Hellbender in the MCU, and with her wanting to protect the monsters, you also doing it for a great send-off of Mole Man, and for the monsters coming from him. In Secret, Queen of the Monsters and Deadpool's wife, I to go after Deadpool, but he would turn her down because of him being with Vanessa. And you also using this for a reason for why we don't see Kid Kaiju anymore, else a Bloodstone in the MCU. With them still winning because of the giant monsters, Kid Kaiju just being the main reason why they won in the end. And with the Think Boom and the other giant monsters actually being grateful that Kid Kaiju helped out the superheroes stop the other giant monsters with them. Then Kid Kaiser need to stay on Monster Island with the other giant monsters is because if any other supervillain finds out about him, they'll use him to bring all their supervillain plans to life. And also Bloodstone also protect him on Monster Island. This is a good storyline for the Inhumans, and it is also good if the MCU does the Inhumans storyline in the actual parts of the MCU. With you actually doing them true to the comic books, to undo the mistake they did with Miss Marvel, you just need to do some time travel things so the Marvel Netflix shows aren't canon. And the Inhumans are a big part of Marvel because them having some good characters in there, because of them having some of the best more recent Marvel characters, and they do have some of the most powerful Marvel characters there. It's also a good storyline for the Uncanny Avengers, so it would also be good you doing it for after the X-Men and Avengers is fully established in the MCU. It would be good if you managing to do a good version of Inhumans vs X-Men. I have a video coming up on how you can do that, so stay tuned for that. And if you do that, you can also make it that instead of Secret Empire being a terrible Marvel storyline, you're just doing it as the Return of Hydra and then you need to fight against it. And you would do it good here because Hydra wouldn't be Nazis here, them just being an evil government. And they would also make it obvious that Hydra are the bad guys, for them being sealed for supervillains and for being an evil government. And this would also be a good reason for Dr. Doom to become the new Iron Man for a while in the MCU because of all the other evil Iron Man and because of him wanting to honor Iron Man after he died. Because of him already becoming good during that time and him also honoring Tony Stark more than he does Reed Richards.